Do you feel blessed for the time that you had with Kelvi?
Absolutely. I wrote in my journal last night that, the tragedy isn't that she died. We all must go the way that Kelvi went. The tragedy is probably in how she died and how old she was when she died.
It's been roughly 2 days since 18-year-old Kelvi McCray was shot and killed in her West Palm Beach home. Police say her ex-boyfriend pulled the trigger.
I never would have thought this could happen.
Family spokesman Ricky Aiken, Kelvi's uncle, told me today the family is devastated and he will never get over the murder of his niece.
Her boyfriend came in and shot at my baby dead.
A frantic call to 911 Wednesday night from 18-year-old Kelvi McCray's mom. West Palm Beach police say 19-year-old Keisean Shaw shot and killed his ex-girlfriend that night. Family told me Shaw snuck into the house when someone took out the trash. Shaw died Thursday afternoon at the hospital from a gunshot wound to the head. According to police, Shaw lived with McCray and was upset over the breakup.
I believe that if there is a prevailing message through this experience, is that we should be highlighting the need to protect our girls through making sure they know what to do if they find themselves in a situation like this.
Aiken says the Inlet Grove graduate loved people and people loved her. He says there is strength to be gained through tragedy.
I see the message in that, because if that young man wanted to do anything, it was to bring a sense of devastation. And I think not allowing it to devastate us speaks volumes to who Kelvi was as a person.
In West Palm Beach, Todd Wilson, WPTV, News Channel 5.
3 young women answered a FaceTime call expecting nothing more than dinner conversation. Less than 20 minutes later, they would witness their friend being murdered live on their phone screens. They screamed. They begged. They couldn't do a single thing to stop it. The man holding the gun wasn't a stranger. It was the same man she had reported to police just 1 day earlier. Make that make sense. On the night of March 6, 2024, 18-year-old Kelvi McCray was at home in West Palm Beach, Florida, eating dinner while talking with 3 friends over FaceTime. They laughed about work, made plans, and enjoyed what felt like an ordinary evening. Then everything changed. Her ex-boyfriend, 19-year-old Keisean Woodrow Shaw, walked into the room. Within seconds, the call became a nightmare. By the time the gunfire stopped, Kelvi had been shot multiple times. Her friends had witnessed it all through their phone screens, powerless to help. What made the tragedy even harder to understand was what investigators uncovered next. Less than 24 hours earlier, Kelvi had gone to police after Shaw allegedly threatened her with a gun, strangled her, and damaged her car during an argument. Detectives moved quickly, securing arrest warrants on felony charges. Officers even located Shaw later that day, but he fled, leading police on a pursuit that was eventually called off for public safety. He was still free the following night. To understand how everything reached that point, you have to know who Kelvi was. At just 18, she was already building a future for herself. She worked as a model and stylist, sharing her work online while chasing a dream of making it in the fashion industry. Friends knew her as someone who stayed busy, made plans, and believed hard work would eventually pay off. Her family saw the same determination. She wasn't waiting for opportunities, she was creating them. Years earlier, Kelvi met Keisean Shaw through mutual friends. They eventually started dating, and for a while the relationship appeared normal. But over time, things began to change. Shaw reportedly became increasingly jealous of her career, questioned the people she worked with, and wanted to know where she was and who she was with. The arguments became more frequent, and the relationship grew more controlling. Kelvi eventually decided she'd had enough. She ended the relationship and wanted to move on with her life. Shaw didn't, even after the breakup. Investigators say he continued trying to stay close to her. Instead of accepting her decision, he remained a constant presence, making it difficult for her to create the distance she wanted. Friends noticed the tension, but no one could have imagined how quickly things were about to escalate. The next 24 hours would change everything. March 5, 2024 became the turning point. During another confrontation, investigators say Keisean Shaw approached Kelvi while she was sitting in her car. He allegedly pointed a gun at her, grabbed her by the throat, and strangled her before smashing her windshield. It was no longer just arguments or jealousy. The situation had become violent. Kelvi refused to stay silent. She went straight to the West Palm Beach Police Department and reported everything. She told officers exactly what had happened, giving them enough information to begin building a case. Detectives quickly obtained arrest warrants charging Shaw with aggravated assault with a firearm and domestic battery by strangulation. Police immediately started looking for him. Later that day, officers spotted Shaw near Gaines Park. When they tried to stop him, he sped away, leading them on a pursuit through West Palm Beach. After several miles, supervisors ended the chase because continuing it posed too much risk to the public. Shaw escaped. That decision would later become one of the most talked about parts of the case. By the end of the day, Kelvi had done everything people are told to do. She ended the relationship. She reported the abuse. Police had warrants for Shaw's arrest, but he was still free. The following evening, March 6, Kelvi tried to move forward. After spending the day working, she returned home and called 3 friends on FaceTime while eating dinner. Nothing about the conversation suggested danger. They laughed, talked about upcoming plans, and enjoyed each other's company. Then Shaw walked into the room. The mood changed instantly. Before anyone could react, he pulled out a handgun and opened fire. The women on FaceTime screamed as they watched their friend collapse. Investigators later said Kelvi was shot multiple times, including in the head, neck, and back. Seconds later, Shaw turned the gun on himself. The call ended in chaos. The friends immediately called 911, desperately trying to explain what they had just witnessed. Neighbors who heard the gunshots rushed toward the house, while first responders arrived within minutes and found both Kelvi and Shaw critically injured. They were rushed to St. Mary's Medical Center. Kelvi McCray did not survive. Shaw later died from his self-inflicted gunshot wound. In less than 24 hours, a police report had become a murder investigation.
First at 10, we're hearing from the family of a teenager murdered in her own West Palm Beach home. Police say Kelvi McCray's ex-boyfriend killed her and then himself. Good evening, I'm Felicia Rodriguez. Thank you for joining us now at 10. It is a story we first told you about as breaking news last night at 11. Ari Height spoke with that young woman's family earlier tonight. He joins us live in West Palm Beach. And Ari, as much as they're hurting, they say they refuse to be sad.
Yeah, this family is showing remarkable strength, Felicia. They tell me they will not spend one moment mourning Kelvi McCray's death. They say they will instead focus all their energies on celebrating her life.
Kelvi was a beautiful young soul. You know, she was as intelligent as she was beautiful.
Kelvi McCray's family says the 18-year-old had a bright future.
She had a flair for life, you know, a flair that still inspires us today.
She was in college, studying cosmetology, already running her own hairstyling business.
She loved making her friends and the young women around her more beautiful. That was a gift that she had, to make everything around her beautiful.
Wednesday night, Kelvi was killed. Police say her ex-boyfriend, 19-year-old Keisean Shaw, came into her home on 13th Street in West Palm Beach, shot her while she was FaceTiming with friends, and then killed himself. A neighbor heard the shots and called 911.
And when I ran in the house, I couldn't get in. The mother let me in, and by that time, this girl she's on the floor, she's in the...
We don't know whether he forced his way in. At this point, detectives have not said what he was doing, how he got in the house.
Police say Shaw was living with Kelvi. Even after the two broke up in January, she let him stay because he had nowhere else to go. But that ended Tuesday when he threatened Kelvi with a gun. Officers tried to catch him, but he got away until he returned Wednesday night.
What would drive you to feeling so hopeless that this one relationship that you probably wouldn't even remember in a few years became the crux of your life and the destroyer of futures and potential.
But despite what was destroyed, Aiken says his family refuses to let Shaw win, refuses to be devastated by her death.
My family's rejoicing. We're rejoicing at the life that Kelvi lived. We're rejoicing at the impact she's made.
And Aiken tells me they're hoping that perhaps some good can come out of Kelvi's death. They're hoping that maybe a woman in an abusive relationship will see what happened to her, and perhaps they'll get out and find some place that they can be safe. Reporting live in West Palm Beach, Ari Height, WPBF 25 News.
As detectives processed the crime scene, they quickly realized this wasn't a case of finding a suspect. The timeline was already clear. Kelvi's report from the day before, the outstanding arrest warrants, the FaceTime witnesses, and the evidence inside the home all pointed to the same heartbreaking conclusion. News of the shooting spread quickly across West Palm Beach. Family, friends, and people who had followed Kelvi online struggled to understand how someone so young with so many plans could be gone in an instant. Tributes poured in from classmates, clients, and members of the fashion community who remembered her as ambitious, kind, and determined to succeed. her uncle Ricky Aiken, said they refused to let the tragedy define her life. Instead, they wanted people to remember the young woman who dreamed big, worked hard, and inspired those around her. Kelvi's death also reignited conversations about domestic violence, especially the danger victims often face after ending a relationship. She had reported the abuse. Police had acted by securing warrants, yet the person she feared was still able to reach her. For many people, that's the hardest part of this story to accept. There was no mystery about who was responsible. The warning signs were there. The violence had already escalated, and despite efforts to intervene, it still ended in tragedy. Kelvi McCray was only 18 years old. She had plans for her career, goals she wanted to achieve, and a future she was working toward one day at a time. Those who loved her now carry the responsibility of keeping her memory alive, not for how her life ended, but for the promise it held. Her story serves as a reminder that controlling behavior, threats, and violence should never be dismissed as relationship problems that will simply work themselves out. Recognizing those warning signs early and taking them seriously can make all the difference. For 3 friends, one FaceTime call became a memory they'll never escape. For Kelvi's family, one ordinary evening became the day everything changed. And for everyone hearing her story today, it's a reminder that sometimes the most dangerous person isn't a stranger. Sometimes it's the person who refuses to let go. Make sure you subscribe to Fable of Crime if you want to see more real-life stories like this, cases that show what really happens when love turns deadly. Drop a like if this video made you stop and think, leave a comment to share your thoughts, and share this with your people so they can stay aware too. We're telling these stories to remember the victims, to keep their voices alive, and to make sure the lessons don't get lost.